place for quick summaries of movies with jaw-dropping twists.
Hey, run, please.
Let's dive in. The story begins with workers cleaning under the Tony Stark Tower after the battle with the aliens. We see a man named Adrian, who is responsible for cleaning the area. Then a woman arrives and tells them to leave everything as it is, stating it's an order from Tony Stark. Adrian pleads with her, saying they need the job, but she doesn't listen. Adrian then heads to his workshop where a worker tells him there's still a shipment they haven't returned. Adrian tells him to leave it, and 8 years later, Adrian has used that shipment to manufacture weapons, sell them, and even create a suit that allows him to fly. We then see Peter Parker narrating his trip with Tony Stark when he joined a mission to stop Captain America. After the mission, Tony Stark drops him off, telling him to contact Happy if he needs anything or if there's a new mission, and then leaves. A month later, Peter is frustrated and sends many messages to Happy, who doesn't respond. No one has contacted him since the last mission. Peter goes to school, where we meet his only friend Ned, and a girl named Liz, whom Peter has a crush on but can't confess his feelings to. After school, Peter puts on his suit and flies around the city, looking for crimes to stop. He even catches someone stealing a bike. He tries contacting Happy again, but Happy doesn't respond. So Peter sends him a message saying he's ready and waiting for any mission. Suddenly, Peter sees 4 masked men with advanced weapons robbing an ATM. He intervenes, but one of them uses a weapon to pin him down. Their weapons are highly advanced, and one of them even uses a weapon that destroys part of the area. Peter manages to stop them and calls Happy to tell him about the advanced weapons, but Happy dismisses him, saying they're busy moving their belongings to a new headquarters. Peter returns home, changes his clothes, and sneaks into his room through the window. When he turns around, he's shocked to see Ned, who is equally stunned to discover Peter is Spider-Man. Peter tells Ned to keep it a secret, saying he's the first person to know after Tony Stark. Ned promises to keep the secret. The next day at school, Liz talks about how much she admires Spider-Man and wishes to meet him. Ned tells her that Peter knows Spider-Man. Liz invites Peter to her birthday party and asks him to bring Spider-Man along. At night, Peter and Ned go to the party. Ned asks Peter how he plans to appear as Spider-Man. Peter says he'll go to the bathroom, change into his suit, greet Liz as Spider-Man, and leave quickly. Peter changes into his suit but suddenly sees a bright light from a distance and decides to investigate. Peter finds Adrian's men selling weapons to someone. Suddenly, Ned calls Peter, and the gang hears the phone. Spider-Man attacks them, but one of them uses a weapon to throw him away. They escape, but Spider-Man chases them. The gang contacts Adrian for help, informing him that Spider-Man is after them. Adrian puts on his suit, stops Spider-Man, and throws him into the sea. Iron Man appears and saves Spider-Man, revealing that Tony Stark had placed a tracking device in Spider-Man's suit to monitor him. Peter tells Tony what he saw, but Tony dismisses it as just a suit and leaves. Frustrated, Peter finds a piece of the gang's weapon and takes it with him. Meanwhile, Adrian scolds one of his men for letting Spider-Man discover their operation, saying their work is now at risk and the Avengers might come after them. When the man threatens to expose Adrian's work to his family, Adrian kills him with a weapon and orders another man to retrieve the missing weapon. Peter and Ned examine the weapon and then spot 2 of Adrian's men searching for it. Peter hides from them and places a tracking device on them to find their location. He discovers they're heading toward the capital, where Peter's school is holding a competition. Peter decides to join the competition to stay close to them and catch them. Peter removes the tracking device from his suit and discovers many features in the suit after hacking it. He leaves the device with Ned and sneaks out to find the gang. However, when he tries to use his web shooters, they malfunction due to the suit's numerous options. Adrian breaks into a truck carrying advanced devices, using his technology to cut through the roof. Spider-Man attacks him, but Adrian fights back, knocking Spider-Man into the truck and leaving him unconscious. When Peter wakes up, he finds himself locked in a heavily secured warehouse that won't open for another 8 hours. He uses the time to explore the suit's features and discovers the device he left with Ned is actually a bomb. Peter tries to warn Ned but can't reach him due to poor signal. At the competition, Ned, unaware of the bomb, carries it in his pocket. Peter's school wins the competition, and they visit tourist sites, including a tower. The bomb starts to detonate, damaging the elevator. Spider-Man climbs the tower, breaks in, and saves everyone, including Liz, who almost falls. Adrian decides to eliminate Spider-Man for interfering with his work. Meanwhile, Peter tries to gather more information about the gang with the help of the suit's artificial intelligence. And he knows one place where the man who used to buy weapons is. He goes to him, pins him in the car, and keeps asking him about the location of those people. He learns that there's an operation happening right now on a ship at sea. Peter rushes to catch them, and when he arrives there, Tony Stark contacts him and tells him there are police in the area and that he should stay away from this matter. But Peter ignores him and attacks the gang. Then the police show up suddenly and Adrian appears in a suit trying to escape. Spider-Man throws his web to stop him, but Adrian tries to hit him with the weapon he has. Spider-Man manages to take it from him, throws another web to stop him, but Adrian says, "You don't understand what you're doing?" The weapon explodes, splitting the ship in half. Spider-Man tries to use his webs to hold the two parts together as much as he can. He succeeds, but the webs tear, and the ship is about to collapse again. Suddenly, Tony Stark appears and saves the situation using his machines. He keeps scolding Peter for ruining the operation, allowing the criminals to escape. Later, Tony Stark takes Peter to a high place, continues to scold him, and tells him he's still too young and not ready for this responsibility. He admits he made a mistake giving Peter the suit and takes it back. Peter tries to plead with him, but Stark doesn't listen and leaves with the suit. Then we see Adrian upset that the operation failed, planning an even bigger one. Later, Peter asks Liz to the graduation party, and she agrees, asking him to pick her up. When Peter goes to her house and knocks on the door, Adrian, Liz's father, opens the door. Peter is shocked to realize that the criminal he's been chasing is Liz's father. Adrian offers to drive them to the party since he's leaving town soon. On the way, Adrian keeps talking to Peter, commenting that his voice sounds familiar. Liz explains that Peter was with her on her birthday at home and also during the incident that happened. Adrian pieces everything together and realizes Spider-Man is Peter. When they arrive, Adrian tells Liz to go ahead, then confronts Peter, saying he knows he's Spider-Man. He gives Peter two choices: attend the party with Liz and forget everything, or continue interfering, in which case Adrian won't hesitate to kill him. Peter decides not to go to the party, runs after Adrian, but one of Adrian's men attacks him, knocking him away. Ned arrives to help Peter, giving him his web device. Peter manages to fight back, trapping the attacker on a bus. He tells Ned to call Happy and inform him that Liz's father is the criminal they're chasing. Peter had left his phone in the car to track Adrian's location. Ned calls Happy, but he doesn't listen. Adrian reaches his base near Tony Stark's tower, planning to steal the Avengers' weapons being transported to their new headquarters. Peter confronts Adrian, but Adrian stalls until his suit is ready. The suit activates, destroying the place, collapsing on Peter as Adrian escapes. Peter, overwhelmed and emotional, remembers Tony Stark's words when he scolded him and took the suit. This motivates Peter to get back up and free himself. He chases Adrian, clinging to his suit. Adrian boards the plane but notices Spider-Man outside through his camera. Frustrated, Adrian fights Spider-Man. During the fight, Adrian hits the plane's engine, causing it to crash. Peter tries to steer the plane away from the city as much as possible, and it crashes in a remote area. Adrian continues attacking Peter, almost defeating him, but notices the box he wants, containing the reactors he needs. He abandons Peter to retrieve it, but his wings malfunction and are about to explode. Peter tries to warn him, but Adrian doesn't listen. The wings explode and Peter saves Adrian before he dies. Peter secures all the items from the plane, ties Adrian to them, and leaves a message for Happy, informing him that he's caught the criminal and completed his mission. Peter returns to school, sees Liz and her mother as they leave town following Adrian's arrest. Later, Peter receives a message and goes to the restroom, where he finds Happy, who thanks him for what he did. Happy takes Peter to the Avengers' new headquarters to meet Tony Stark. Tony thanks Peter for his efforts and invites him to join the Avengers. Peter declines, saying he prefers to remain the simple Spider-Man who protects his neighborhood from criminals. Peter returns home to find Tony Stark has sent him the suit again. He wears it, but his aunt sees him, realizing Peter is Spider-Man. This marks the end of part 1. The second part begins with Spider-Man at a charity event, where his aunt, now aware of his identity, uses him for good causes to encourage donations. After the event, Happy arrives with a $500,000 check donated by Stark Industries. Happy tells Peter that Nick Fury has been trying to contact him and insists he responds. Peter promises to think about it. He attends the event but grows tired of reporters' questions and leaves, sitting in front of an Iron Man portrait, reminiscing about Tony Stark. The next day, Peter packs for a school trip to Europe. His aunt suggests he take his Spider-Man suit in case he needs it, but Peter refuses, wanting to enjoy the trip. On the plane, Peter tells Ned he wants to sit next to MJ to confess his feelings. Ned tries to help but ends up messing things up, sitting next to a girl named Betty instead. Upon arriving in Italy, Peter is surprised to find his aunt pack the suit in his luggage. At the hotel, Peter later goes to buy MJ a gift and plans to confess his feelings. Suddenly, a massive water monster emerges, destroying everything around it. Peter, without his suit, struggles to deal with it, but a flying hero appears fighting the monster. Peter wears a mask and tells the person, "I can help you." And indeed, he helps him and defeats the monster. He meets Peter again, saying, "I can help you," and truly helps him defeat the monster. This person becomes famous, and the news starts talking about him. He was very powerful, and they call him Mysterio. Later, Peter returns to the hotel and suddenly finds Nick Fury in front of him. Fury sedates Ned and tells Peter that he has a mission for him. He explains that the monster they fought today is just one of many in different countries. He asks Peter to wear the suit and come with him. On their way, Fury gives Peter Tony Stark's glasses, which Tony had instructed to be given to Peter before his death. These glasses allow Peter to control many weapons and all of Tony Stark's technology, making them incredibly powerful. They arrive at Nick Fury's headquarters, where Peter meets Mysterio. Mysterio introduces himself to Peter, explaining that he is from a parallel world that was destroyed by 4 monsters, one of which Peter saw today. These monsters can control natural elements like water, fire, air, and sand. After killing his family and destroying his world, they came to this world to destroy it as well. Mysterio asks Peter for help, but Peter just wants to enjoy his trip and declines, walking away. The next day, as they are heading to Paris, the trip organizer announces that the travel company has changed the destination to another country. Peter is surprised to find that the bus driver is Dimitri, one of Nick Fury's men, and realizes that Fury altered the trip's destination. On the bus, Peter wears Tony Stark's glasses and hacks into the devices of everyone present. Later, during a stop, Peter meets one of Fury's team members, who gives him a suit to wear. Suddenly, one of Peter's classmates enters and takes a picture of him, threatening to show it to MJ. Peter tries to hack his phone to delete the picture, but accidentally launches a drone from the satellite. He manages to resolve the situation at the last moment. They arrive at their new destination, and Peter goes to Nick Fury's location. Mysterio explains their plan, saying they need to keep the monster away from any metal because it grows in size as it absorbs metal, potentially destroying the Earth. Later, Peter goes to a landmark with his friends and tries to talk to MJ, but he gets distracted and leaves. Suddenly, the fire monster appears in the city. Peter and Mysterio arrive to handle the situation. They fight the monster, but it absorbs everything around it and grows larger. Mysterio tells Peter that he will enter the monster and blow himself up to destroy it. Peter protests, saying that Mysterio will die, but Mysterio insists, saying it's necessary. He carries out his plan and destroys the monster. Nick Fury arrives to thank Peter and Mysterio, inviting Peter to join his team. Peter hesitates, wanting to live a normal life. Later, Mysterio invites Peter for a drink and talks to him, encouraging him to join his team. Peter remains hesitant, preferring a normal life. During their conversation, Peter shows Mysterio Tony Stark's glasses. He lets Mysterio wear them, commenting that they suit him well. Peter decides to transfer ownership of the glasses to Mysterio, feeling the responsibility is too great for him. He tells Mysterio, "You were willing to risk your life to save people, so you deserve them more than I do." Peter leaves, unaware that the place they were in was an illusion. Mysterio is not a superhero, but someone highly skilled in technology. The technology he uses creates realistic illusions, making people believe they are in real situations. The monsters they fought were also just illusions. Mysterio's plan all along was to get Tony Stark's glasses from Peter, and he succeeds. It turns out Mysterio used to work for Tony Stark, but was fired. Peter returns to the hotel on the last day of the trip and decides to confess his feelings to MJ. As he talks to her, MJ reveals that she knows he is Spider-Man. She shows him a device with Spider-Man's webbing on it. When Peter activates the device, he sees the monster they fought earlier and realizes that the monsters were just illusions. He understands that Mysterio deceived him. Meanwhile, Mysterio prepares a new illusion to stage a heroic act in the city, aiming to be seen as a savior. However, he discovers the device that MJ has and, using the satellite, sees Peter and MJ talking with the device. Mysterio realizes that Peter knows the truth and decides to kill him before he can inform Nick Fury. Peter goes to Nick Fury to reveal the truth about Mysterio. However, it turns out that Fury is also an illusion created by Mysterio. Mysterio manipulates Peter with more illusions, making him believe he's being attacked. Eventually, a train hits Peter, and Mysterio assumes he is dead. However, Peter survives and wakes up in the Netherlands. He borrows a phone to call Happy, who comes to pick him up. Peter explains everything that happened and uses Tony Stark's technology to create a new suit to defeat Mysterio. Mysterio goes to the location where Peter's friends are to kill them. He creates another illusion, summoning a monster that begins destroying everything around it. People panic and start running, Happy contacts Nick Fury to reveal the truth about Mysterio through a coded message. Fury understands and continues to play along with Mysterio's act. Spider-Man arrives at the scene and enters the monster illusion, destroying the drones creating it. Mysterio sees Peter and starts shooting at him, but Peter manages to reach him. Mysterio traps Peter in another illusion, but this time, Peter overcomes it and defeats Mysterio, taking back Tony Stark's glasses. Mysterio is accidentally injured by his own drones and dies. Spider-Man saves the day. Later, Peter goes to MJ and finally confesses his feelings to her. They share a moment and swing through the city together. Suddenly, a screen in the city displays a video from Mysterio, accusing Spider-Man of trying to kill him and revealing Spider-Man's true identity to the world. Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and everyone finds out the truth. Peter is shocked when he sees the video revealing his identity. This marks the end of second part. The third part begins with Mysterio's video exposing Spider-Man's life, claiming he wanted to kill him. Peter is stunned when he learns that people know his secret, and he quickly takes MJ and starts running from the crowd accusing him of killing Mysterio. They attack him, and he rushes home, locking all the windows. Police helicopters surround his house, and the media brands him a murderer, not a hero. The police arrest Peter, interrogating him, Ned, MJ, and Aunt May. However, a skilled lawyer named Matt Murdock, Daredevil, helps them get released. At night, Peter talks to MJ, and they plan to go to school the next day to gather documents for college applications. The next day, Peter arrives at school, facing attacks and insults from the media and some people, though others still support him as a hero. Later, Peter, Ned, and MJ sit on the school rooftop, discussing their plans to apply to the same university and awaiting acceptance letters. When the first college response arrives, Peter is rejected. He applies to another university and is rejected again. Finally, the three of them open their last letters together, only to be denied due to the controversy surrounding Spider-Man and accusations of Mysterio's murder. Even Ned and MJ are rejected because of their connection to Peter. Peter turns to Dr. Strange, explaining how his life was ruined after people learned his identity. He asks Strange to turn back time and change events, but Strange says he no longer has the Time Stone. Instead, he offers to cast a spell that will make everyone forget Peter Parker is Spider-Man. As Strange begins the spell, Peter interrupts, asking for exceptions so his friends and loved ones won't forget him. This disrupts the spell, causing it to fail. Peter later learns that a friend of his was accepted into the college he wanted and asked for the location of the college administrator to plead for his friend's acceptance. He finds her traveling out of town and rushes to meet her. Just as he convinces her to consider his friends, Peter's spider sense activates. He senses danger and encounters Dr. Octavius, who attacks him. They fight, and during the battle, Octavius takes nanotechnology from Peter's suit, allowing Peter to control Octavius's mechanical arms. Peter saves the administrator, who promises to speak with the college board on behalf of him and his friends. Suddenly, a bomb is thrown, and Green Goblin appears, attacking Peter. Before the fight escalates, Peter is transported to Dr. Strange's lair, where Octavius is imprisoned. Strange explains that the failed spell opened portals to other universes, bringing villains who know Peter Parker is Spider-Man into their world. He shows Peter another captured villain, Dr. Kurt Connors, Lizard, from Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man films. Strange gives Peter a device to trap the villains and asks him to find and capture the others. Peter enlists MJ and Ned to help. They locate Electro, who controls electricity, and battle him. Sandman appears and aids Peter. Peter traps them both and sends them to Strange's lair. Peter receives a call from Aunt May, who says someone is at her place. He rushes there to find Norman Osborn, Green Goblin, who seeks help to control his alter ego. Aunt May convinces Peter to help the villains by curing them before sending them back to their worlds, as they are ultimately human. Peter takes them to Strange's lair, where Octavius learns he died years ago. Sandman confirms that they all face death if returned to their original universes. Peter decides to help them, but Strange disagrees, activating the spell to send them back. Peter steals the spell device, fighting Strange in the mirror dimension. Using math, Peter defeats Strange, takes his teleportation ring, and traps him in the mirror dimension. Peter returns to the villains, promising to cure them. He works with Norman to fix Octavius's mechanical arms, successfully curing him. They then create a device to drain Electro's energy. However, Peter's spider sense warns him of danger. Norman reverts to Green Goblin, declaring their abilities are not curses, but gifts to be exploited. The other villains agree, and chaos ensues. Green Goblin fights Peter, overpowering him. Aunt May intervenes but is fatally injured by Green Goblin. Before dying, she tells Peter that he did the right thing trying to help and reminds him of the iconic line, "With great power comes great responsibility." Devastated, Peter watches her die as police arrive, forcing him to flee. Ned and MJ, grieving Aunt May's death, use Strange's ring to open a portal to find Peter. Instead, they summon Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man from another universe. Trying again, they summon Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. The two alternate Spider-Men join forces with Ned and MJ to find Peter. They comfort him, sharing their own losses and reminding him of his duty as a hero, steering him away from vengeance against Green Goblin. And it reminds him of the famous phrase, "With great power comes great responsibility." After that, they go to the lab and keep working on the cure, and the three of them keep talking to each other, getting to know one another better. They come up with a plan to lure the villains, which is for Peter to go live on air and say that he will use the box to send them back to their worlds, which would result in their deaths. Peter reveals their location, and indeed they arrive, and the fighting begins. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man gives Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man the first device, and he is able to cure Sandman, but they can't handle Electro, who is very powerful. Then Dr. Octavius arrives, helps them, and cures Electro as well as the others. After that, Ned opens a portal, and Doctor Strange enters. Ned tells him that the plan worked and that the villains are being cured. Doctor Strange takes the box and goes to Peter. He tells them that they need to cast the spell now to send the villains back to their worlds before a catastrophe happens. Suddenly, Green Goblin appears, takes the device from them, and throws bombs at them. MJ almost falls, and Tom Holland's Spider-Man tries to save her, but Goblin attacks him and stops him. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man saves her at the last moment, and he remembers how he couldn't save his girlfriend, breaking down in tears. Tom Holland's Spider-Man then goes to fight Green Goblin violently, intending to take revenge and kill him. Just before he finishes him off, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man intervenes to stop him. Green Goblin stabs Tobey in the back, and Andrew Garfield throws the device to Tom Holland, who cures Green Goblin. Tobey is okay, and Doctor Strange tells Peter that all the worlds are merging into one another and that everything will collapse. Doctor Strange doesn't know how to stop it. Peter suggests casting the forgetting spell again, but Strange warns him that if this happens, everyone will forget him. Peter Parker will have never existed. All his loved ones and everyone who knows him will forget him completely. Peter takes responsibility and agrees. The spell is cast successfully, and all the villains return to their worlds. Tom Holland's Spider-Man bids farewell to the other two Spider-Men, who also return to their worlds. Peter then goes to Ned and MJ to explain the situation to them. They are saddened that they will forget him, but they ask him to promise to find them and remind them of him again. He promises them and leaves. Doctor Strange's spell works, and the entire world forgets Peter Parker completely. The next day, Peter goes to the place where MJ works and finds Ned there too. Before he reminds them of who he is, he changes his mind, deciding to keep them out of danger so they can live normal, peaceful lives. He then rents a room to live in and makes his own suit because he wants to keep them safe and let them live peacefully. He begins fighting crime in the city again, with no one knowing his true identity. And that was the end of our story. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to get more new videos. See you next time.